I don't know why. I think I had a couple of reasons. One is that we largely don't think too highly of the trades today. We've taken on more of the pagan disdain for the trades rather than the Christian celebration of it.
Why?
Well, I think the more that we move away from Christianity and into a post-Christian world, the more that we're going to be thinking more like pagans. I think that's just a general thing. But actually, can I maybe take 2 minutes to give you like a real theory on this? So obviously there's many, many massive social things that happened over the last 500 years that kind of brought us to the way that we are. I'm just going to more or less randomly pick a place to start. And that's in 1903 with the publication of Shop Maintenance by a guy named Frederick Winslow Taylor. Now, Taylor was kind of the stud of studs. You know, he won the U.S. Open doubles in the 90s. He got fourth place in the Olympics for golf. I mean, this guy was amazing. And then he gets into efficiency protocols as a process engineer. So in coming up with this method that became so dominant in the American economy. He went into again, let's take the example of this table. He watched a carpenter go through the whole process of making a table, everything from chopping down the tree to milling the wood, planing, joining it down, making the right cuts, gluing it together, sanding it, finishing it. And he's saying, if we split all of those different tasks up and give different people each of those tasks, then we're going to be able to produce more of these tables in a faster manner. And he said everybody should do this. Now, I believe it was in 1908 when Harvard created the first MBA program, and they dedicated the first year of their curriculum to Winslow's method. And about 6 years later, Ford, who I believe never went through this program, but was very taken with Taylor's method nonetheless, created the assembly line, right? So this is, the most monotonous, the most toilsome of jobs, right? Where somebody was just putting on the same screw into a different car every single day. And this was a huge problem for them, like just spiritually, like psychologically. I mean, it's just defeating. Who wants to do that work? That's like the most mind-numbing thing ever. And when work is truly supposed to be something that aids to our contemplative life, where we're creatively figuring out solutions to transform the world and lift it up into the social life of man, you get almost none of that enjoyment because there's no creative capacity allowed, let alone enabled in that job. Okay, so who would do that job? Who would take it? I mean, who could he hire? Well, he had a huge problem hiring. In fact, when he was trying to get 100 new people on the assembly line, he would have to hire 963. Wait, how does that math work out? Because 863 on average would quit soon after being hired. Nobody would want to do that job, right? So he ultimately managed to make it through that hurdle by paying his people more, speeding up assembly lines, and then ultimately, when people thought, well, I don't need any more money than you're giving me, bringing advertising into the fore. Matthew Crawford has written brilliantly about this in his shop class, Soulcraft. Advertising was a hugely important point in this transition, because if you're already making enough money, then why would I stay late? Why would I work harder? Why would I give you more hours than I'm doing? It was only if I'm enticed to want to buy more things.
You're kidding.
No kidding.
You're telling me that advertising was in large part a result of the
need, yes.
Because of the this what did you call it that Ford created, the assembly line?
Yeah. So that's absolutely a big part of it. There's a very, I think, what's his name? Bernays.
It's bananas to think that advertising was ever invented.
I know, totally.
Because
right?
I suppose in some sense it wasn't. Hallow is the #1 Catholic prayer and meditation app to deepen your spiritual life anytime, anywhere. Go to hallow.com/MattFrad to get the first 3 months for free.
Well,
in the most basic sense, someone is always trying to sell you their wares or their body or something.
It was actually, this is no joke, and I wish I was were familiar. I think the guy's name is Bernays. Maybe your boy can fact check me on the name, but he wrote this book called Propaganda.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Yeah, you got a computer right there. And he was an important voice or important figure during World War I. Why?
Edward Bernays?
Yep, that's
1928.
1928, great. So he was an important voice during World War I to help sell U.S. bonds to help the war effort. Okay. And so they created all these campaigns, all these marketing campaigns to encourage people to buy these war bonds so that America could win, right? Okay, well, what happens when the war ends? Well, he takes his techniques learned on that public market there for the state and then brings it into the market, into the private market, helping corporations advertise to sell more products, right? And then World War II comes up. He goes back into military advertisement, and then war ends. He goes back into the private sector, and there was a massive group of these people, but they called it propaganda, and like that didn't have the negative connotations that it does today, right? But it was a way of propagating the felt need for these products, this felt sense of need, right? But also we have the dicastery for the propagation of the faith. I mean, it's the same idea, the same word. That's our propaganda department, right? Yeah. Now it has such an evil, negative connotation that it, again, just did not have at the time. So there's a number of different parts of this history, but its invention, marketing's invention or expansion, the scientific field of marketing really being developed and created over the course of the 20th century that helped us move into mass production in a way that America just had not seen. Of course, then we offshored all that, and that's a different story. But I think when we think about, just to bring the thread all the way back to our conversation, when we think about manual labor, we think about mind-numbing work. We think of work that's not creative, that's not really fully human as a result, that's not meant or intended for the most rational and penetrating of minds. And so we make this false dichotomy between white collar and blue collar, when in fact, that's absurd.
Thank you very much for watching that Pints with Aquinas clip. If you like it, do me a favor, click like and subscribe, and please offer a Hail Mary for the work of Pints with Aquinas and all the people we're trying to reach. God bless you.